coach in the program. I'm sorry, but coaching culture in athletics is truly about having a culture that's going to be able to round out all stakeholders. Not just coaches, not just administration, not just parents. Sometimes parents go over the line, but not just parents, and not any community member. Folks, we have to pull that out. We should all be conducive. I mean, I just don't understand it. If any parent wants to come or community member wants to come and watch us practice, by all means do it. What do I have to hide? I am trying to teach student athletes to be the best person they can possibly be. And when you look at that, man, that's crazy when you're trying to hide something like that. What they're trying to hide is their abusive behaviors. Telling kids not to ever tell their parents is what child abusers tell their victims. Now, I think that's a little harsh, but we are again reading over Dr. G's blog on the competitive advantage. Let's see here. You're not a good coach when you treat your players with disrespect. I don't care what your won-loss ratio record is, how many championships you've won in the past. When you treat pre-adolescent and adolescent athletes disrespectfully, you are not a good coach. Now, there's kind of a topic that we can look at in a podcast later on. I mean, what is disrespect? What is disrespect? Because it's going to be different. Whether it's the coach, administration, parents, players, whatever. That's something that we'll have to look at a little bit later too. You're not a good coach when you don't walk the talk. What you say to your players means nothing if it doesn't come from who you are as a person. Simply put, your words have to closely match your behaviors. Great coaches are great role models in that they teach through their behaviors. They don't operate on a double standard where it's okay for them to act one way, but to hold their athletes to a different or higher standard of behavior. If you as a coach teach through the maximum, do as I say, not as I do, then you have distinguished yourself as a poor coach. I look at that and it is pretty distinctive. I do believe though that, there are times that a coach screws up, and if a coach, admits the faults and learns from those faults, these poor behaviors can lead to good coaching later on because we're constantly learning and observing what's around us. You're not a good coach when you refuse to take responsibility for your behavior. There it is. When you refuse to own your mistakes and instead blame others for them. The mark of a great educator is that they present themselves as human. They do not let their ego get involved in the more important task of teaching. Therefore, when something goes wrong, they're quick to own their part in it. Good coaches take responsibility for their team's failures and give their team and athletes full responsibility for their successes. Bad coaches blame their athletes for losses and take the credit for the team's success. I've had the ability to, these experiences of coaching on really great teams, with really great records, making the playoffs several times, and you look at that, it's one of those things where coaches have this running joke, folks. When you're good, it's the athletes, and when you're bad, it's the coaching. Well, it is what it is. But I will tell you that I have had the opportunity to work with many great coaches out there, and they don't take the credit. Okay, the ego's not there. But some coaches out there, the ego's there, and I'll just leave that at that. The final one that she has here is you're not a good coach when you play head games with your athletes. If you talk behind their backs, play one athlete off against another, or are dishonest in your intentions with your players, then you are doing nothing constructive to help your players learn and grow as athletes and individuals. Telling a player one thing and then turning around and doing exactly the opposite is not how to go about effective coaching. For example, promising a player more playing time if he or she does A, B, and C, and then keeping them on the bench after they do everything you've asked of them is a game that will kill your athlete's love for the sport, crush their spirit, and destroy their confidence. This is how great coaches motivate their players, is not doing these things, guys. And, I'm just going to kind of leave that at that. Coaching culture in athletics is going to be designed, folks, to help all stakeholders involved in this process, get a little bit better. We also, check out our Facebook page, Coaching Culture in Athletics, Spreaker, Podbean, all that sort of stuff. We have more and more stuff that's coming. And, it's my hope to just spread awareness, guys, to make this athletic and, this culture, sporting culture, better. Our mission statement is to end the mad culture present in today's athletics. Our vision statement, realizing the full potential of proactive coaching on athletic culture in the United States. That is our goals. And, again, you've been listening to Coaching Culture and Athletics, and this is author Charles Banks, or Coach Banks. I appreciate everybody. You know what? Shoot us some comments. Let us know what you think of all that we have to offer here. This is episode 2, and we're on a wrap.